We're gonna have Terminator put her heels up against the wall.
Thanks.
What's up, everybody? This is Coach Jason coming to you live inside the rack. In this video, I'm gonna cover the most important things that you need to know before you start working out. Now let me give you a little background on myself. When I was 40 years old, I was 40 pounds overweight. I decided I needed to start exercising. I'm one of those very meticulous planner type of people, so I spent the better part of a year researching what the best exercises were and how to go about exercising at an advanced age. So what I did was I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos, I read a whole bunch of articles, I even read scientific studies on different exercises to try to find out what was the best. So 2 months before I turned 41, I actually started working out. By the time I was 41 and 3 weeks, I suffered my first injury. I hurt my shoulder. Within a couple of months, I hurt my hip. Within a couple of months, my knee started hurting. Then my back started hurting. I went through just about every injury that you can have starting out. And I found all kinds of videos on how to fix these injuries after they occur. But what I never saw in that whole 10 months of research I did before I started exercising was how do you prevent these injuries in the first place. So now that I've gained a lot of knowledge and I know how to fix these things, this is the sole purpose I created this YouTube channel. My goal is to help you as a new trainee avoid all of the injuries that I had to suffer through. Now most people, when they get hurt, especially if you get hurt in your first couple weeks or months working out, you're just gonna quit working out. You're gonna say, well, I got hurt, working out's just not for me. I want to prevent that. I wanna give you the tools so you can hit the gym hard and you can reach all your goals, no matter what they are, whether it's weight loss, whether it's strength gain, whether it's muscle gain, whatever your goals are. You need to follow the tips that I'm going to give you in this video to set yourself up for success and longevity. You're never going to reach any of your goals if you only go to the gym or work out at home for a couple weeks or a couple months. It's going to take years to get to the goals that you want to achieve. So without further delay, let's go inside the rack. I've compiled about 10 different drills that I want you to do. So the way this works is I want you to video yourself doing the drill, and then I want you personally to analyze the video. Don't take somebody else's word for it, and don't just do the drill and go, oh, I felt like No. Video it, analyze it, and be honest in your analysis. If you fail the test, admit that you failed the test. In the next couple of videos in this series, I'm going to teach you how to fix any issues you have with any of these drills. So I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry about that. Now, if I look back at myself personally, when I first started working out, I probably would have failed about 3/4 of the drills that I have here. So if I would have done this at the beginning, I could have probably fixed myself in 2 or 3 weeks and never gotten injured, instead of training for a year through a bunch of injuries, having to stop and take 2 months of time after a year training to try to fix myself to get back to where I could train injury free. I'm now in my mid-40s. I'm a Texas state record holder, stronger than ever, haven't had any injuries, knock on wood. Everything's been going really good lately. So please take my advice, do these drills, test yourself, analyze it, be honest, and let's hit some PRs, hit all your goals, do everything you want to do. I'm going to guide you through this every step of the way. So let's get into these drills. So this first test, you're going to video yourself from a side angle. You're you're gonna place something on the floor. It doesn't matter what it is. I have a mobility peanut that we're gonna use. Set it on the floor and just simply bend over and pick it up. These first two drills, we're testing the functional mobility and range of motion of the ankle, the knees, and the hips. So I'm gonna set this on the floor. I'm gonna have Patty bend over and pick it up. So you see in her range of motion, she has no ankle flexion, no bending of the knees. It's all just a bend over at the waist. So I'll have her do it one more time, a little bit slower, so you can see her do it. Let's stop. So you see how she has no ankle flexion, very little knee flexion, and all the bending comes from her hips and low back. When you lift weights in this manner, it's gonna put a lot of strain on your low back, and it's really bad for your low back. So we gotta fail on this test. Now I'm gonna demonstrate the proper way to pick something off of the floor. What you wanna do is break at the hips and send your butt back. Slide your hands down your thighs until you reach the level of the knees so you can cup your knees. See how my shins are virtually vertical? That takes all the shear force off of the knee. Notice how my chest is still up. This takes all the shear force off of the low back. Now from here, you're just gonna bend your knees down, grab whatever the object is, and reverse the motion to stand up. Now when you're gonna set something down on the ground, you do the exact same thing. You break at the hips, sending your butt back until you get just below the knees. Once again, notice how my shins are almost vertical. And then from here, you bend the knees down to the ground. Chest is up, shins are fairly vertical, takes a lot of the stress off of the knee, puts it on the hamstrings and the glutes, which are big, powerful muscles meant to do this. The knees and the low back are not meant to do this. And that's how you properly pick something up. So for this test is a simple box squat. I got a 5-gallon bucket here. You can use a low stool, a bench, a short chair. You can do it on the edge of the couch. It's not ideal, but if that's all you got to work with what you got. So we're gonna have her squat down slowly, touch the bucket with her butt, and then stand back up. Go ahead. Do it one more time. So you see how she had to help herself down a little bit? It tells me she has weakness in her quads, probably bad knees. Since she's my wife, I know she has bad knees. So she has a weakness in her quads, a weakness in her hamstrings, and a weakness in her glutes. So that doesn't allow her to properly do it like this. See how I can go down, maintain control, and come right back up? I can hover right above the bucket, so I'm not even touching the bucket. I can touch and come right back up. I have plenty of quad strength, glute, and hamstring strength, so I can maintain mobility. Proper squat depth should be so the top of your knee gets below the crease of your hip. So you see right there, this is proper squat depth. So for me, once again, I'll go down, lightly touch, and come back up. From the front, what you want to see is your knees track over your toes. You're aiming for your kneecap to be over what would be your next to pinky toe, your ring toe, whatever you want to call it. So your knees should go out over that toe and then back up. If you got good range of motion here, you're good. Otherwise, you fail. So with the first two drills, we focused on the ankles, the knees, and the hips. Now we're going to zero in on the hips a little bit more, mainly the pelvis and the stability of the pelvis. So we're going to check this in the x-axis, which is horizontal this way, and the y-axis, which is horizontal this way. So for this first test, what I'm going to have Patty do is stand facing the camera. So just come over here and face the camera. Equal weight on both legs. Then I want you to lift one leg in the air.
Which one?
Either one, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'll put it down. I'll do the other leg. Okay. Now you see how she kind of had to compensate This could be for two reasons. One could be because she has poor balance, which I know she does have not the greatest balance. But what you want to see when you're doing this drill is you stand here, lift one leg, you should barely have to shift. You don't want your pelvis tipping to the side, left or right. Another thing you can do to see if you're doing this is just simply walk away from the camera. So stand over here and just walk this way a little bit. So her gait is pretty good. A fail is gonna look like this. That's what I call the booty walk. So if you got the booty walk, or if when you lift a leg, you severely dump, then you fail this test. So for this next test, we're gonna test the Y-axis. The easiest way to do this is just video yourself from the side. If you have a stick to use, works good. If you don't, you gotta work with what you got. So just stand so you're directly sideways to the camera. So what we're checking here is we're gonna make sure that the top half of her body and the bottom half of her body are equal. So if I go midline of the bottom half of her body, we're right there. You can see almost her entire, I move my hand out of the way. You can see almost her entire torso sits in front of that. So if I line it up, the center mass of her torso, you can see the majority of her legs sit behind that. This is most likely because she has anterior pelvic tilt. So what does this mean? It means that her hips are dumped forward like this in a forward angle. So to compensate, she lifts her chest up, and that gives her this excessive rounding in the low back that she has here. Now if she were to start squatting or deadlifting with this problem, in a couple of months she's going to start having serious back issues. So this is something we need to fix. If you're extremely overweight, it's going to be hard to do this center mass type thing. A skinnier person like me, I can do it. You see I line up pretty square. The bigger you are, depending on where you carry your weight, is going to throw this measurement off. So another way to do it, and this is a little bit more difficult to do, is you find the front crest of your hips and the rear crest of your hips, and then you place a stick across that, and you see how that's not level. It's because she's anteriorly pelvic tilted. 90% of Americans are going to have this problem because we spend a lot of time typing on computers, texting on phones, watching TV, driving cars with bad posture. So this is going to be very common and something that we're going to have to fix. For the first upper body test, you're just going to check your posture from a side angle. So you should see that your neck goes directly over your shoulders. Everything's in a straight line. Another way to test this is to use 2 sticks, 2 rulers, 2 pencils, 2 pens, whatever you got. We have 2 shims because it's easier to see on camera. You're just going to hold one in each hand like a tennis racket and just let your arms hang naturally at their side. So you see how the sticks are pointed inward? That means that she's inwardly rotated at the shoulders. This is called kyphosis. This is a bad condition and we need to fix it. The stick should be pointed straight ahead. So you want the sticks to be like this. So if you have any inward rotation, that's bad. If they're externally rotated, pointing outward on both sides, that's okay, don't worry about that. But if you're inwardly rotated, that's a bad situation and we need to fix it. So for this last test, we're going to test the upper body. All you need is a wall. So I'm going to have her stand with her heels against the wall, her butt against the wall, her shoulder blades against the wall, her elbows against the wall, and then she's going to flip her arms up and put her wrists against the wall. This entire drill, you want to keep your heels, butt, shoulder blades, elbows, and wrists in contact with the wall. If they come off of the wall, you fail this test. So from this position, I'm gonna have her slide her hands up the wall, fully overhead, and then back down. Go ahead. And then down. And you can put your arms down. So like I said, if at any point in time, any of those points of contact come off of the wall, you probably have a mobility issue that needs to be addressed. If you hear any snap, crackle, popping in any of the joints, you probably have an issue that needs to be addressed. If you feel pain at any point in time in any of the joints, you have an issue that needs to be addressed. So like I said at the beginning, in the next couple of videos, I'm going to guide you through any fixes that we need to make on any of the drills that you failed. I'm not sure if it's going to be 1 video, 2 videos, 3 videos. It depends on how much time it takes me to explain it all. But make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of it. Until next time, this is Coach Jason coming to you live inside the rack.